news for you. Yes, I do. I'm like your angel of love, girl. I've come to see you through. So when you cry, let me wipe your tears. When you're scared, I wanna be there to calm your fears. When you're in need, baby, ring my phone. I'll run right over and we'll make love all night long.
Yo, what is?
What's going on, Randy?
What's good, fellas? How y'all doing?
What up, Rand? How you doing, man?
I was starting to feel like I was on punishment from acting the fool on y'all show. That's why I hadn't been back in a while.
If that's the case, we'd all be off the show.
Yeah. Lord knows I've made enough enemies on this show. Lord knows, man. I hope y'all doing all right, man. I missed being with everybody last week. On the return show because I was under the weather, man. But I'm glad to be back, man, and glad to be with you guys. I know Robert is running a little behind, so he's gonna be he's somewhere being hazardous.
I know. I was told I couldn't tell people you were fired. I got admonished by the producers for spreading the rumor that you got fired last week and that I was the new host. So,
oh, did you really?
Yeah, that's kind of what I did. You didn't see the beginning of the show when I told everybody that?
Oh yeah, I did. Oh yeah, I always watch. Yeah, I always watch. Yeah, but I think everybody knows you lying. So
damn, right off the cuff, huh?
Man, I'm just saying, he's got a reputation now as being a bit of
a reputation.
Yeah, he's not always telling the truth, man. But hey, man, I'm glad to see y'all, man. I think our dear brother Mel is somewhere doing something great. I ain't gonna put his business out in the street, but he's somewhere being great and doing great things. And of course, we can't wait for him to come back and be with us, man. I couldn't really talk last week. I was so sick, man. So I put the TV up on the big screen. Put the show up on the big screen and sat on the sofa and watched it and, commented. And I said, man, these dudes be dogging me when I'm not there, boy. They talking, hey, Randy, they talking about how long my stories are and how many subjects we get to talk about because I talk too long on every subject. I was sitting there a little mad for a minute, and I was like, I'm gonna be all right.
That's what family does, though. Family attacks you, and
But I started having some good comebacks. I was like, it ain't my fault that y'all like to talk about something for 8 seconds and unpack it. And when y'all get done with it, it's still a whole lot more of it that needs to be discussed. And I don't like to unpack it. Yeah, that's the way I see it.
I like that. All right.
Okay, Sam Shade. Okay.
Thank you. I'm just saying. Hey, I guess they'll bring Roger in whenever I'm brought to you by Basil Hayden. I guess they'll bring Roger in, man, when he makes it. Hey, man, here I go, Randy, starting SHIT again. But I saw something a couple of days ago, and I said I was going to kind of save it for the show because sometimes I'll pop something on my page and it'll get me in so much trouble I can't talk about it on the show. It's already caused too much trouble. And this is something, to be honest, man, I never thought about. Like, we always talk about the effect of young men, boys being raised by single fathers, which there's another aspect to that I'd love to discuss tonight. We talk about the powerful effect of children that are raised in two-family households. We talk about that kind of stuff. I saw a post, man, that kind of rocked me. It said a lot of these troubled women that have these toxic
personalities,
kind of personalities. And Lord, let me apologize early for the people that's gonna hate me for bringing this up. But it was a lady that posted it. She said a lot of these are women that were raised by side pieces.
Well, let me in advance say I don't apologize for what's about
Oh
to come
yeah,
out my
yeah, yeah.
mouth because I know this
We
gonna be
already know how
good.
you get down. Yeah, we already know it. But I thought it was interesting, man, that I had never even considered that as a dynamic. You know what I'm saying? That you could be dealing with a lady who watched her mom be a side piece a time or multiple times or her whole entire life, and so that impacted the way she sees relationships, the way she navigates relationships. Uh, it kind of blew my mind, man. So Randy, with your outspoken self, I mean, I should waste no time. Let you chime in, but
I, growing up on the south side of Chicago, have seen it time and time again. This girl, I'm not saying any names, of course.
right.
Her mom used to have guys going in and out that house like nobody's business. And
Yeah,
she was a side piece when she was in a relationship. And when she wasn't in a relationship, guys would go in and out. And in turn, her daughter lives the exact same life. Um, she she started at a young age, didn't want to have a boyfriend, or she couldn't keep a boyfriend. Like it seemed like the better the guys were to her, the less she wanted to deal with them.
sure.
She would constantly
Well, I would
rotate
imagine
around.
though that didn't feed what her reality was. So good guys probably were contrary to what was normal for her.
Yep. And all the guys that her mom dated, they were asses. They did stupid stuff. I used to laugh at them half the time, trying to understand why her brothers didn't beat the hell out of them. But they went on. But the daughter saw this, and she still acts like this. It's kind of crazy. She's well into her adult years, and nothing's changed. She was married, and she couldn't just have sex with her husband. It was always other guys. And I mean, I've seen it. I mean, I saw it from childhood to now, and it affected her, and she turned out worse than her mother. That's the bad part about it.
Yeah, yeah. I'd never really, I'd never really, man, considered that maybe even some of the toxic personalities that I have encountered, as an adult man, could be products of somebody who, we're again, and I think it's part of the culture, man, that's so comfortable about beating up men, especially men of color. We've heard 5,000 stories about, boys that watched up with their, grew up with their fathers abusing their mothers, and or he wasn't there, or he was there but he wasn't present. We
Right.
don't really hear a lot of stories about um toxic or abusive in whatever way mothers, and what that leaves you with as a young man or a young woman. Robert, because you're just popping on, what we were discussing was a clip I saw earlier in the week that said a lot of the women that we encounter that are toxic or have these troublesome personalities are because they were raised by side pieces. And again, it's something I hadn't thought about. Me and a friend earlier were
Ooh,
talking about the difference, huh?
that's a deep one.
Yeah, yeah.
No, welcome to the show, Robert.
Right.
Yeah.
Me and a friend earlier were talking about the difference in how side pieces used to be versus how they are now. Like all of us remember grandparents and uncles, and the granddaddy had three families, that lived in different parts of the city, but nobody ever said nothing. It was always they stayed in their lane. He took care of them. He took care of all of his outside situations. There was never no drama. And I told my friend, I said, well, we live in a culture now where side pieces feel empowered.
Yeah.
So it's a different situation. They're not content to say, okay, this this works for me and it benefits me, so I'm gonna chill and let it ride. They feel like they have power. And here's the flip side. I've got an uncle one time that heard through the grapevine that my aunt had a side dude, and he was like, hey, if he want to chip in on some bills around here, he welcome to stay. You know what I'm saying? Like the mentality is just different. But Glenn, talk to me, Robert. I'm gonna let you get situated a little bit since you just got it. But Glenn, what do you think, man? Had you ever thought about that, man, or had you ever consciously dated a woman that you knew came out of a toxic, grew up in a toxic situation and it impacted you all?
Not consciously, I guess, not that I know of. I'll put it that way. I don't think so. But I mean, I'm not surprised. I mean, you're a product of what you see growing up, good and bad. So you take on those traits, those good traits, you take on those bad traits. And if all you've seen is that behavior, then that's all you know, and that becomes normalized for you. So kind of what Randy said about it, it's like, you know, you look at what you grew up in, you become what you grew up in a lot of ways, or become the behaviors of a parent that you were most exposed to. So it's not surprising. I mean, it's not just being a side chick, it's being abusive. It's being anything that you become as an adult that you were exposed to in your childhood, I think.
Yeah, but I'm still fascinated, man, by the fact that it's talked about so infrequently. You know, that the woman side of it is almost never talked. Dude, I'm over 50. And when she said that, and y'all know, I mean, I think a lot about these things, and you know, because I want to bring things to discuss with you all, and I can honestly say I had never considered what if I'm dating somebody whose mother was toxic. And check it out. My most recent relationship had that component. And I never really looked at the impact it could have on that person.
But it's no different than think about dating somebody whose father was stepping out all the time, and that's all she saw.
Oh, but we would have heard about that. My point is, we would have heard about that.
Yeah,
that
your
story
story
would have been told.
It's not necessarily been addressed. No, I get what you're saying, but
that story would have been told. It's not told on that side.
On the ignorant side, though, the girls who I know who grew up like that, because of how their mom was making all the guys happy, man, you want to talk about some good sex? Woo! 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 She know who she is, and she probably on here watching me right now.
Can we have
my high school years great? I had a good high school year.
Do we have a recording of Mel's disclaimer?
Right.
Hey man, but I mean, I don't think that's news. Bad girls typically, you know, typically brought the good. You know, they brought the gushy. You know,
I learned a lot.
Phil said he a side dude in training. shout out to Big Phil. Hey man, we got to get you back on, man, because I'm tracking what you're doing with your project, man, and we got to get you back on just so we can talk about it, man, and talk about how it's going, and you can share with us some of the ups and downs and what you've learned about this new level you've elevated to, man. So let's make that happen. And I also see, I'm not as good as you guys as being in the chat, but I also see a classmate of mine, Brother Kerry Johnson, who recently lost his wife, man. So from the show, our condolences to you. I hope you are hanging in there, and love you, no doubt. But yeah, man, Robert, why don't you pop on in here, man? I'm not gonna let you get out of this one.
I feel like
you're gonna make somebody mad, but you know, you the love of life. They'll get over it.
Hey, I feel like, you know, after that one, Randy, I decided I was going to drink beer tonight, nothing hard. But after these comments, you know, I might need some hard stuff. But you know, it's funny.
A brown liquor night.
Yeah, I need a brown liquor night.
You
know, it's funny. Dating, growing up, and stuff like that, being in people's homes, I got to see some toxicity that was going on with women. But it also kind of made me more endearing to them because of the fact that they didn't have any peace at home, right? You know, and so that's why this whole lover of life thing. No, I'm kidding. But I mean, it's just so to say, did I see it? Yes, I saw it. But I also thought or think. As I grew up in life, I learned to ask women what they were going through or what their childhood experience was like. So then I could be a little bit more empathetic with them because, you know, people are going through stuff, man.
Well, when you're a gigolo, you have to empathize with your clients, Robert.
You know, that's right. That's what gigolos do, baby.
And know what gigolos do and what angle they come from. So, yeah, you have to do that. It's part of your job.
I tell you what it made me think about, man. Years and years ago, I was in a
That's why I'm
relationship.
single.
I'll never forget it, man. I was in a relationship, and the first time that I went by the young lady's house to pick her up, we were going out on a date or something, and I picked her up. At the time, she was still living at home with her mom, and I went to pick her up. And in the time that I was there inside the crib, waiting for her to finish getting ready and so we could leave, dude, her and her sister had like a knockdown, drag out shouting match at each other, top of their lungs, yeah, 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 yeah. And I remember going, whoa, I don't want to make too big a deal out of it, because I'm kind of a fly on the wall. I'm in their crib, I'm in their personal space, so I really can't, make a big deal out of this. This is really a private moment that I otherwise would not have seen. And but what I thought was interesting, man, was that in the 5 or so years we were together, that component of her personality contributed to the end of the relationship. It's like when you can see something, and Robert made me think of that because he said it made him more endearing, made her seem more endearing. A lot of times we see stuff that's cute and endearing early on, but after years and years of exposure to it, she's feisty and cute in month 3, but she
Yeah.
disrespectful in year 4. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Man, if she's got a good arm with a brick, that's just fine.
It was funny in high school. I avoid it as an adult now. Anytime I start learning those things, if you haven't taken time to get healed or come to terms with what you got, I walk away because I know I joked about the girl, but this is the same one. I don't think I made it. I went to the Army. I don't think it was 2 weeks into boot camp that she had moved on.
She had moved on?
Yeah, I think it may have been 2 weeks into boot camp. I kid you not.
Yeah.
So, it
Did
was
you still
funny
write
back
letters,
then.
though?
Well, she wrote a couple, but yeah. But it's one of those things. As a kid, it was funny. Now I'm like, as soon as I hear these stories, I'm like, so have you taken time to heal? Why do I need to heal? Oh, okay, so this is over.
Yeah.
So think about this. This is funny because you just made me think about it, Randy. I was dating this is in high school, by the way. In high school, I was dating a lady, and we were vibing, and she took me to her crib, to her house back then, and mom and dad are sitting there getting high, in the living room, and they're like, "You want some of this?" And I was a church boy, but it's so you realize the things that people go through, and she was embarrassed as heck because she didn't realize that they were going to be sitting there, smoking weed and stuff like that when we came home. But we just don't know what people go through, man.
Yeah. I agree, man. Hey, man, let's shift gears. Before we do that, of course, everybody that's watching, thank y'all for hanging with us for this is our 3rd season, and you guys have been so faithful to us. Randy has been a consistent guest for all of the time, so we appreciate you, brother.
But Randy, we kept him away because he acted up and stuff. I'm like,
but he acts up every time. Why would we?
I know. I'm like, look, I'm kind of like,
now be any
it was
different?
self-inflicted, so I can't get mad.
But it's like it ain't like it's the first time he acted. He acts up every single time he is. So that would never keep you away.
Right. I came in with a New Year's resolution and I broke it 5 minutes into the show.
But I want
to know what the New Year's resolution was. I don't even want to know what it was.
It was only about the show. It was like, I'm gonna try to be nicer on the show. I'm trying to be good on the show. I don't do it with the rest of life. I'm like, look, ain't no new year, new me. This is me, and deal with it.
Hey, yeah, I've seen your TikToks. This is real easy.
And I want to thank everybody for last week, making last week's show the highest rated show of the year, the one I hosted. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I know it's the only show of the year, but mind your business. It's number 1. Don't worry about all that.
Hey, good job. Good job, Glenn.
Thank you, Rob.
I really hope you believe that's why the show was.
Well, they wanted me to host it at the last minute.
And I've been on 2 weeks straight. So my Johnny Carson plan, which is in my contract, I'm gonna need a guest host next week. Anyway, so
I think I was in the middle of asking people to share the show. Don't just share the link, but actually paste the URL into your browser and share it that way if you can. Can you even do that? I don't even know.
Right. I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah, I just
Yes,
thought
you
about
can,
it.
Sean. That newfangled internet machine, you can do a lot of cool things with it. You know, you can take the little cursor thing and you can spread it over this, and you click one button and you put it on a blank screen, and bam, it opens up a whole new screen for you.
Called a mouse.
Lord, like, oh Lord, you can do some amazing things.
Oh, that was pretty good. My man Bizzle just checked in. What's up, homeboy?
Suddenly, I feel better about the stuff that I was talking. I feel better now.
No. We assholes too. You just a lot more comfortable, letting it be known. We just have to be urged. Hey, check it out, man. I got a kind of serious question for you guys. I don't really believe in regrets, right? I believe that timing is a part of everything. I believe that things are typically in divine order. I also honor the fact that when you know better, you do better. And so I can't really regret things that I did or didn't do before I knew better. You know what I'm saying? I allow myself that grace, because you can't do or not do what you're not wise enough in that moment to do or not do. But I was thinking about things that my perspective have changed. My perspective has changed on. For example, I was a guy who, after a few sales jobs, I was like, I'm not fucking with sales. And everybody, because I've done recruiting and everything else. Robert, I see you. I'm gonna punch in the balls when I see you. But people would always tell me,
That's violence.
hey man, it's been 3 years of this. Well, you weren't a cast member 3 years ago, but you've been here for 3 years, and you've been smirking on me for 3 years. So
And Sean been trying to get rid of you ever since.
yeah, I'm gonna choose violence, man, in 2023. But and so it made me think about things that my perspective has changed on. So like now, here it is, so many years later, as I'm moving around doing different things career wise or whatever. When I said I would never work a sales job, now hey, that's USC Trojans though. I'm repping my nephew who's in film school at USC. Now I feel like, you know what? Maybe I could look at that. I've seen things that changed my perspective, maybe softened me up or whatever. Is there anything notable that your perspective has shifted on over the years, whether it is the way you look at love or the potential of love, the way you look at politics or religion? Lord knows, Randy, I don't want you to talk about either one of those, because Jesus, the offense. But anything that it might be that you have over the years of gaining your wisdom or whatever, that your perspective has taken a huge shift. Is there anything like that in your life that you go, I didn't think this 10, 15 years ago, but now I know this, or I believe that, or again, not a regret, but you just know your mentality has changed. Robert, I'm gonna start with you since you've been giving me a hard time. And you really look good tonight, Robert. Your little jacket and hanky and facial hair is working.
I like you too. You look good too.
I was once told never trust a man with a beard and no mustache, but I like you a lot, so
I like you too, brother. Hey, it's interesting that you said the things, because on last week's show I said that I had a different perspective on sales. I've always been a sales executive and a successful one, but and when I got out of corporate, I said I didn't want to go back into sales. And when I tried to deviate or put my toe in it, I felt like there was a little sliminess that went along with that, and I didn't want to be identified, with, because I never sell anybody anything that they don't need to benefit me, so that it benefits me. So I think I have a different perspective, Sean, on the whole sales aspect. It's what I do. I'm a relationship guy. I like doing that. I like inspiring people. I like giving them, the solutions that they need and want. So I said this last week that I'm doing a big push now to do sales development for my company and for, for others that are looking for it.
And while the meat of what we're talking about isn't sales per se,
Mm-hmm.
um, like my whole life I've been pushed towards sales because I'm equipped.
Yeah.
If you're articulate enough, if your presentation is nice enough, people have always pushed me that way. But I've always had an issue with my performance being quantified by the decisions someone else makes. That's always bothered me about sales, and that's why I would, even if I did sales, I would never do anything that I had to convince or persuade somebody, you need to buy this because it has value. It has to be something that is already known to have value. Let's just determine whether or not there's a benefit in it for you. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't sell you a widget because I got to prove to you that a widget has some value. But if you give me something that we all know and understand has value, and then we're talking about whether or not we can fit it into your needs, then that's a different process for me, and I can maybe be a little open to it. But yeah, so I'm interested in that. And Glenn, you've turned some interesting corners in your life from corporate to your personal. I'd be curious about what you see differently now, and maybe you were hardcore about never doing this or not doing that, and now as a seasoned 38-year-old.
30-ish. You can go and we'll put that extra year on it. So
I
I appreciate it.
on purpose. Yeah.
I mean, I know I look my 38.
We lying already.
Oh, you look your real age, but go ahead.
Anyway, see, I was gonna say, I'm sure Janet Jackson regrets her decision to leave me. That's who should be regretting some stuff if you want to talk about it. And Sanaa Lathan should regret leaving me for Robert, because that was a disaster too. So they're the ones that you need to ask that question to. But I'll answer it anyway. I'll answer it. I don't know that there's anything I said I wouldn't do, but I think it's more of I'm learning to do more of it. As you get older, you start to let your inhibitions go and you start to give yourself a little more grace for the things that you want to do. So versus taking on the blame for everybody else's issues, which I did a lot of, I don't do that as much anymore. I think I've evolved to the point where I understand myself and being human a little bit more than versus just I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to think that way. I'm not going to blame the other person for stuff I know they did. So I've gotten out of that for sure, real quick.
Randy, we got to come up with a nickname for Randy.
It's already Randy Stress. I mean,
yeah, but it's got to be something that warns people.
That Nick, no, just
Mr. Controversy.
Right. Shoot from the hip, ran. But anything, man, that you and again, it doesn't have to be anything that you would do or not do, but just something that your perspective over the years. Yours could be very different. He's like, I used to think people were kind. Now I think everybody's an asshole.
That's a good point, though. I used to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. Now, I doubt your benefit.
Mine is in there a little bit, which I'll address after Randy.
Yeah, I think if Jesus came here and was like, I'm Jesus, I'm be like, let me see your hands. But in all honesty, I have learned some stuff over the years, and the most important thing I learned as far as relationships go, I've learned you can't fix a broken person. No matter how much you want to show someone how good it can be, you have to let them go. You have to be more concerned about your own mental safety than theirs, because they'll break you while you're trying to help them. That was probably the most important lesson I learned from my last relationship. That's probably why it's been 9 years. That was a rough one. That was a rough thing to learn. As far as other things in relationships, I've learned a little bit more about what I actually need. When you're young, it's sex. But as you get older, you start realizing I need somebody I can walk on the beach with. Let's take a flight somewhere, and I know I don't have to worry about you being ignorant as hell and in the restaurant. You know, we can sit and laugh and joke about stuff, people watch, you know, try new things, just, you know, those little simple things that make life a lot more fun. I've discovered that to be more important than anything, Mr. Controversy. I like that. And as far as I forgot the other thing you said.
We have to play Prince's song next time you the guest. We have to give you a promo with bound out, bound, bound.
I like that.
I thought about that.
The good thing I've learned about politics, I've learned to stay in the middle of everything because there's so much crap on both sides, and I love to watch people and you're just like, they did the same thing that you're saying that they did, and you're saying the same thing, but you guys did the same thing. So I've learned to kind of stay in the middle. I don't get mad about anything, and when it comes to religion, I just tell church folk, leave me alone. If you ain't living right, because I'm the first one to tell you, I'm not throwing rocks at anybody's house. Don't throw nothing at mine, because you don't want me to call out your sins.
But it's so fun. But it's so fun to argue with church people. It's fun to argue with them. It's fun for them to tell you that Halloween's the devil's holiday, but they can't explain Easter eggs.
Exactly. It is
like that. It's like it don't make sense, but you want to argue about it. You just
the Christmas thing got me this year. I had a good argument online with somebody about Christmas, and I'm like, when was Jesus' birthday? And they're like, well, according to the Bible, what? And they were like, well, the church said that. I didn't ask what the church said. I said, when was Jesus born? I'm like, because everything in the Bible says spring, but you don't understand why they made it Christmas. Well, I just go by what my pastor, and stop listening to your pastor and study for yourself. Because some of these pastors don't know what the hell they're talking about. They only know what they were told. And even the Bible tells you, study for yourself. Like, you can tell me everything in the world. I'm like, I'm going to take note of that, but let me go make sure it's true. Because, I mean, we've seen enough of these pastors out here. They're pimps.
I think
not all, before people start getting on me. I'm saying some.
I think Robert and
Randy stress.
I think Robert and I start to listen to conversations like that with the same kind of ear, because I know Robert used to be a quote unquote church boy, as was I, but I became that way in my early 20s. And so the things that you guys are bothered by are things that are like largely insignificant to me. Like I could care less about the Easter Bunny or the date of Christmas or what his real birthday was. That's stuff that's all romanced for the greater population, right? My problem becomes pastors that are really nothing more than people with business skills that didn't work in business.
Right. No, I grew up in church. I've seen it all.
And so
the pastor's the only person with money in the church. There's a problem.
Yeah. When I feel more of a business sense from you than a heart for the people of God, then I don't really have much to do with you. And I'm no longer the person that gives you an inordinate amount of respect because you got pastor or reverend on the front of your name. Like, that means absolutely nothing to me. Like, if we have a conversation and I determine that your spirit is good and you have a heart for the people of God, then I'll change my perspective on you. But if you walk up to me talking about I'm Pastor Donald, you Donald.
The Reverend Doctor.
Yeah. Pastor is your
bishop
job. Yeah,
bishop.
Reverend Doctor. You know what I'm saying? So,
truth be told, I stopped going to church because of a pastor.
A lot of people stopped going to church.
Well, yeah, that had a lot to do with me too, Randy. But it was not just the pastor as much as it was the leadership of the church, together, in community. But the pastor did have a huge impact. That particular pastor.
One of the funny things, and I hate this, I'm gonna do a Sean, but I'm gonna tell a story. I got a story. It's gonna be quick though.
Let's see.
Your mind ain't as long as y'all act like they are, but go ahead.
Yeah, right.
Well, most of them are. True story though. I was in a church, a mega church, well-known mega church here in Chicago. Definitely won't call the name. And it's one of those churches. If you don't pray, if something's going wrong with you money-wise, well, you're not praying enough. My husband's beating me. You're not praying enough. I just fell on hard times, lost my job. Well, that's because you ain't praying and tithing enough. Praying and tithing was always the thing. So one day, the pastor gets up and goes, the offering was shorter than it's ever been last week. We need y'all to dig a little deeper. And I'm like, well, maybe you didn't pray and tithe hard enough then. I mean, that was your logic for everything that went wrong in my life, was that I wasn't praying or tithing.
Yeah.
God didn't love me enough.
It's more subtle things for me. Like I remember I was at a church and I was working. I was actually just hired to
what the hell?
What it do?
Well, at least he got his shirt on.
Was that what he told us?
Gentlemen.
Yeah.
You nasty yourself.
Last time we saw him, he had his ink showing. He had his ink all showing. So he
Y'all
decided,
good, man.
Thanks for dressing up for us.
I'm just checking on you, man. I was concerned about your well-being. You know, with the exception of Brother Stress, you gentlemen are probably in horrible weather.
It's not bad.
It's not bad. I have a heater right here.
Don't give him, you indulge.
Oh.
Hey, Randy, it's a little wet out, but you know, wet ain't always bad.
So you have a pool off of your bedroom too, Sean, is what you're saying?
I was talking about a different kind of wedding.
I'm aware. I'm so aware. I was reeling you back in, bro.
Oh, I know.
I was reeling you back in. Y'all good?
Yeah, man, we good. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm good. Just dropping in from the other side of the world to say hello to my people. Hey, and appreciate you guys allowing me to have a night off.
We appreciate you thinking enough of us to pop in, man, on when you're trying to decompress and take a break from all that your life requires. Yeah. You know, we appreciate you popping in, man, and giving us some of that time. Certainly make sure you give the queen a collective hug for us, you know.
Yeah. Hey, Mel, there's no show next week. So if you see me, Sean, Randy, and Phil, and Robert on the show, it's just like a practice thing. There's no show.
Got it. Right? Sounds great. Sounds great. All right, everybody, but Glenn, have a great show.
I'm showing skin on those photos, boy. I thought that was a whale you had harpooned.
Okay, well, Sean's got his internet problems.
What up, hero?
I'm
sorry, one of my friends was on here.
I thought he was advertising condoms. He just
I thought that's what it was too, Glenn, when I saw it. But
yeah.
I think it's his whack internet service.
Sean Mason's the new spokesperson for Magnum.
Yeah. Yeah, he'll be right back.
We think. We
After
hope.
These messages, we'll be right back.
So let's do some controversy discussions. You know, we've got a lot of women in the audience.
Ask me a question, ladies.
Yes, ask all the questions for Randy, please.
That's right.
Yeah.
How do you handle a woman, Randy?
How do I handle?
That makes a lot of money.
So I've dated a woman. First, I don't handle women. First of all, I want to make sure I say that. But second, I dated a woman who made $200,000 more than I did.
I thought you were going to say weighed 200 pounds.
Right.
Yeah. I was going to be like, oh, how did you handle that?
That's a handle right there. Yeah. I'm always going to be who I am. I'm not intimidated by anything that you have, anything you bring to what we have. I'm not intimidated by it. I grew up in a atmosphere with 11 aunts. I'm 100% sure how to be stable around a room full of women. So it doesn't sway me at all. I'm still going to be the guy. I'm still going to open doors. I'm still going to pull out my card to pay for stuff if we're on a date. Like, none of that shifts because you make more money than me. The only thing that can determine how I'm going to change is if you try to act like I ain't shit because I make less money. Then you're going to see a whole fool come out as I take you home and make sure I delete my phone number out of your phone for you. But
at least you're taking her home.
Well, my dad told me always take him home because if something bad happens to him, then the police gonna come looking for you.
Yep.
Like he told me that for real. He's like, you always take whoever you took out, you take them back home, make sure they're in the house safe, because if something happens to her because you left her at a club or put her on a bus or something, they're coming for you. So, so make sure they get home.
So do you have a problem, or do any of you gentlemen have a problem with, the boss concept? We have a lot of women today that are educated by, if you look at Instagram, they make a lot of money. They've got a lot of materials and things. I said, notice I said Instagram, that they have all this stuff. But does it ever bother you that they say that they're the boss chick and that You're the hired help.
The boss chick philosophy is. Oh, I'm sorry. You talking?
I don't know what Glenn's saying. He's got.
Oh, he's on
Glenn's
mute.
got
You're on mute.
He's on
Oh,
mute.
okay.
That's why he put himself on mute because he didn't want us to hear.
Darn, y'all should have heard that. It was riveting. Go ahead, Randy.
I don't like when they do the boss thing, and the boss thing is really a bitch. I mean, I'm not being funny. You can be strong, you can be strong-willed when it comes to certain things, but when it comes off bitchy, I don't like it. If you're just secure in yourself, I love that. I love a secure woman, but all of that shit when you're snippy with people, like I don't like someone. If I go to a restaurant and the waiter makes a mistake because mistakes happen and it's not him cooking it, and you're shitty to the waiter, then I feel like you're going to be a bad person, period, because you don't know how to control yourself because you think you're a boss, so you got to act out, and you don't always have to act out to get results. I've said things nice and quiet and got what I needed faster than when I yell and scream. So it's just not important. So that part I don't like.
Yeah, and being a real boss and having real strength you don't need a bullhorn for it. It shows in your attitude. It shows how you treat people, the people that are the least of us. How you treat the waiter or how you treat anybody on the street. That's what really is boss. Being boss is actually being human.
You know, it's interesting that both of you guys said something about how you treat waiters, and it's interesting in the sense that women judge us for the most part about how we treat the wait staff, and that is one of the determinations that they say, ladies, watch out for how he treats his mother. Watch out how he treats the wait staff. And
what side of the street he lets you walk on? Does he let you walk on the outside of the street?
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's.
Although I was on a date one time and she accused me of flirting with the waitress because the waitress was showing me a little bit more attention than her. So she swore up and down I had done something with my eyes. That I told her I wanted her or something, and that's why she brought me more food. And she was. I saw how she came to the table and she leaned down and she looked at you.
And she wrote her number on the receipt for you. I knew that's what it was.
I'm like, it's a loud ass restaurant. She leaned in so she could hear me talk.
I mean, it makes sense to me to see someone treating someone who serves you like shit being an effect in your relationship, because you want that person to be able to serve you also, or service, or however you want to look at it. It connects. And I mean, I totally get it. In the whole how you talk to your parents thing, I see women all the time. My boyfriend cussed his mama out, and you still went out with him.
Right.
I know, really.
On a date
you
with
hate
him?
your mama. There's something wrong with you. I'm sorry.
Right. If you
don't like his mama, there's something wrong with you.
Right. If a guy can cuss his mama out, one day he gonna slap the shit out you. And I'm just being real. Like, I'm not even joking.
He ain't got no respect for you.
So here's a question. Why do you think then that because those are flags, right? We can say flags, we can say yellow flags, green flags, white flags, but it's a red flag. Why do you think that we ignore those red flags and still go through with it? Go ahead, I'm here.
I know why. Sex. People get so caught up in getting so turned on and horny about somebody that they let those red flags. You'll see the red flag, but then at the same time, like for girls, they see that bulge, so they start going, well, that red flag ain't that bad because the bulge is a little bigger. Now, if you had a bulge like this, they might talk shit, but if you got a bulge, they're gonna be like, well, maybe I could deal with that, and it just keeps going. And for us, it's the same way. Man, dude, she got a little shitty attitude. Man, that ass guy,
right?
You know what I mean?
Man, I love the way she smiles at me.
Right.
Oh,
and for me, it was always a smile. She got that cute smile. I used to be like, nah, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about that smile. I need to see this attitude. But you know, when I was younger, it was like, man, that smile would let those I would put water on them red flags. Like, it ain't that bad.
It's not really a red flag.
Right. You could walk in and slap the waitress if you look like Halle Berry. I'll be like, had a bad day. She'll be all right. Bad day.
Back in the days when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore.
Now it's like, we don't care how you look, you crazy. Okay, you're crazy. I don't care how fine you are. If you do crazy stuff, you're crazy. Period.
It's because as you get older, you got more stuff to lose, and you don't want to lose your stuff to some psycho.
Yeah, especially if you're married,
both sides, guy or girl.
You got stuff to lose. You know,
what y'all
divorces are
talking
expensive.
See what y'all talking about.
What we talking about?
Because I was getting ready to make a whole big point on that church thing, and I guess, hey, look, Randy, I guess the Lord was not having it.
God did not want you to
God
say
did not want me to say what I was getting ready to say, boy. He was like, that's gonna be too much.
He like, cut that signal.
Like, let the record
No,
show.
Randy,
you
he was
know
like
who
this.
knocked out the room.
He was like this, Randy.
Right.
What y'all talking about? What was y'all talking about?
Robert took over. Robert had that takeover spirit. He did that last week too.
He did it so smooth. I thought that's the way it was supposed to go.
Well, you know, Robert won my job anyway.
I thought it was planned, honestly.
I joke about being the host. Robert,
That's all right. Robert can take my job, and I'm gonna take Wine Crawl.
Hey, okay. All right.
Wait.
That's right. We can do that.
I see you, Randy.
I love this thing.
What were y'all talking about, though, for real?
Red flags,
Red
boss
flag.
chicks, women wanting to be the boss. We were talking about how women.
What makes you ignore a red flag?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on a thread today with some people, and it was amazing because the guy was kind of being transparent. I actually invited him to watch the show tonight. I don't know if he's checking it out or not, but he was a little low, you know, because he had kind of been exposed to, you know, that chick that decides if you valuable based on what you got, you know, and he was clearly a little stung by it, you know, and I shared some of my stories, and then one lady came in and she was like, I don't see the problem. She was like, I like men with money, and I like a man that has a good job and resources and da so we can do what we need to do and do what we want to do. That's the kind of relationship I want to have. And I'm like, that's great. That's nobody's saying there's anything wrong with that. I said, but people are using that as their initial attraction, and they're not thinking about integrity, loyalty, fidelity, what kind of temperament the person has, because you put the bells and whistles first. And I'm like, trust me, you have enough time with guys with bells and whistles but nothing else, and you'll get it. You'll understand why money ain't everything, you know. And this is just being real. If a dude has all the bells and whistles and he's not mature enough to manage those bells and whistles like a grown ass man, then you find out why the dudes that have all the shit don't really make good mates. Because
And if we was in church
you know
right
what I'm
now,
saying?
I'd be stomping my feet saying, go ahead, testify, brother.
Amen.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just telling you the truth. Because you got all these women chasing him for what he got. He don't feel no pressure to be good to none of y'all because y'all all chasing him. And here's the thing. And he's likely a piece of shit dude. But he's getting all the attention because of what he got or what he drive or where he live, you know, and then you get all that and you realize it's connected to a dude that got the moral compass of a cat. But you want me to feel sorry for you when you get dragged, and like I'm not, because you shopping from the outside in and not the inside out. And that's not to say that you don't deserve to get somebody that looks like you want them to look or feeds you in a certain way, because we all are like that. I wouldn't date anybody that didn't feed me physically either, but that's not the priority. That's some extra gravy, you know. But I'm not gonna date somebody that looks like I want them to look, but they a piece of crap on the inside. Like, I'm not doing that.
But I think some women, not all, but some have an expectation that outweighs their value.
Oh yeah. Well, but here's the thing, and that
your value is about a credit limit of $5,000, but you acting like you got a $50,000 credit limit.
yeah, and see, but here's the thing, and again, I hate to be so divisive, but women can get away with that. Men can't. You know, men, you let the man work at UPS and or post office and making good money. But just because it's
garbage man.
Right.
Garbage
But just
man
because
makes good money.
it's seriously blue collar, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got some ladies that'll turn their nose up at them, and it'll be ladies that don't even have nothing. Look, you don't want me to tell my story. Look, I done been rejected for money by a woman who was 3 months behind on her rent.
Somebody put a fan on Sean. He go in.
Randy, I'm about to go
Testify,
in.
testify.
And then they be mad
Where's
at you
the
for telling the
tambourine?
story.
Come
I'm
on.
like,
The doors
I'm
of the
like-
church are open. Whosoever will, let him come.
I tell women all the time, there's nothing wrong with a guy
candidate
with a
for
lot of money.
baptism, a Christian experience.
Serious, I know, really. By letter, a Christian experience.
Sonya said I
Someone
was
said,
serious.
what determines values?
You know, I think that's,
upbringing.
I didn't address that, Randy, because that's so broad. Like values can be good or bad. You know what I'm saying? Like values are what you come up thinking. You can come up thinking, and this is, I don't want no shit for saying this, but I remember when I was a kid in Tennessee, and you had a few guys that would put their hands on their lady. I had a woman tell me, your man don't love you if he don't put his hands on you.
I've heard that before.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
so values
heard
to
that
me,
too.
values are a bit ambiguous because they are a product of how you were brought up, what you were taught as a child, and you could have been taught some really ugly things, you know. Now, do you want aligning values? Maybe so. If you think a man don't love you if he don't slap you every now and then you might want a man with values that think you're supposed to slap your woman every now and then. You know what I'm saying? But so values are not the dictate as much. Values are not the dictate as much as your values being in alignment are.
Right. Values are subjective. Values are very subjective to whatever you know. That's
100%.
like you talk about keeping it real. Well, if you've never been off your block, real is all you know. It's that,
Right.
that 1 block radius. You don't know nothing about jobs.
Yeah.
You don't know nothing about other careers or anything else, but you keep it real where you are. You know,
You expect me to hit? Look, if you want me to hit you, you found the wrong dude. Because if we get to the point in our relationship where I think I want to slap you, I'm leaving. Because obviously you breaking my spirit in a way that's not normal. So it's like, nope, right. I gotta go. Because if you got me to the point where I want to hit
too much to lose.
In this relationship.
Right. You said breaking my spirit.
Yeah, you're breaking the spirit.
But you know, you said something, Sean, about the garbage man. I think women will make an exception for the garbage man if he looks like Idris Elba. You'll make excuses.
Yeah, they
will. Will make the
well. I mean,
that they want. If he look at you and
look, here's a prime example. What about that felon who was they put his poster up? He had the green eyes and the pretty face, and they had tattoos all over the place. And I don't know how many times he been to jail, but they was like, I date him, I still get with him, and that was all it took. He actually got a job because of that.
But look, Randy, let you say you'll date somebody with big T and A, and you a shallow pig.
Yep, you're a dog. You're a dog. I can't believe
you don't know how to you don't know how to value a real woman, and you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Just for the record, ladies, I'm not a big ass guy. It's more about the shape than it is. So it could be little and shaped nice. I'm still good.
I almost started speaking on what kind of guy I was, and then I was like, "No, I'll let Randy have that."
Don't let Randy run out there. Don't let Randy run out
there. Well, I always say when people go, "I'm an ass man," are you really an ass man or are you a big ass man? Because if you're an ass man, it's about the shape more than anything. It don't matter the size.
My older brother Byron is gonna hate me quoting him, but I was a young man when he told me, "Hey man, there are big good booties and big bad booties. Don't just say you want a big booty, because that don't mean it's good
or a booty."
I mean, most people that know me, I've always dated those little Reet petites. You know, kind of.
If we can shift our seats to something else, please.
Maybe not.
I like women who work out. If you don't work out, you can't date me no more, because I'm in the gym all the time and I don't need somebody. Why are you in the gym all the time? No, I'm not working out to be a bodybuilder. I'm just trying to stay.
Well, for me,
she's talking about mouth breathing, eating Oreos. Why are you always in the gym?
Right, that part.
Well, you can look good and not work out, Randy. So I ain't gonna make that a prerequisite. But if I go to work out, I don't want you muscle, but I don't want you going out. I don't want you waiting in the parking lot for me when I come out the gym. Like, I just wanted to make sure this is where you said you were.
Where you at?
Yeah, no, my friend Shay, she don't work out, man. I swear to God, she look like she go to the gym every day. I don't know how she does it. I don't know how she does it.
Some of it is hormonal, man. You just blessed. I know some people with triceps popping and calves popping, and they eat nothing but fast food all day.
Yep.
You know,
it used to be me.
mean,
I smell
work out.
chocolate and gain weight. It's
Yeah.
it's bad over here.
Man, I gotta work out. That muscle butt thing cracked me up. That's Hero. That's one of my friends there.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't know the name, so I figured they was
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah, it's her.
Hey, Randy, after 3 years, most of the names we see is some regular names, and we do appreciate y'all for hanging with us, man. Hey, man, we almost done. I'm gonna throw this at you real quick. We got about 4 minutes left, man. What happened to accountability? Why has accountability become so unpopular? Think about the little meme we see with the parents at the teacher's desk, and they go, what's the teacher's going, what's wrong with the child? And then it fast forwards to like 30 years, and the parents are asking the teachers, what's wrong with my child? Like it's their fault. You know what I'm saying? What happened to accountability? Because we're the same way with men and women. Like everybody thinks they deserve what they should deserve. They can act how they want to act and get what they want to get. Nobody thinks that you should be accountable for what your energy produces. Talk to me.
Accountability died with the helicopter moms because they didn't want their kids to see how it was to lose. So everybody had to get participation trophies. So no one got a chance to learn at a young age what it's like to lose because their parents taught them this. And then as these people get older, they feel like no one's supposed to hold them accountable. They're supposed to be equal. You're supposed to give them the benefit of the doubt, let it go. You know what I mean? You're supposed to overlook it. And these people grow up to be cancel culture. They're the ones who grow up. Anytime you say something they don't like, you're supposed to be canceled. Why? Because it triggers me. Why does it trigger you? Because they never give you an answer. Why does it trigger you? It just does. No, you can't say it just does. I can't say I don't like this food. Why? I just don't. Why? It tastes nasty. It's too hot. Something. But you end up with these kind of people, and they just feel like life is supposed to go my way, and if it goes any other way, then they get canceled. And that's where accountability has died because they want to hold you accountable for triggering them, but they don't want to be held accountable for the things that they do wrong.
But it's also grace. Like even with the LGBTQ plus community, I'm an ally. I got no beef, but I'm not always going to remember to say they. And if and unless I mean it in a malicious way, I need you to give me some grace when I've been saying he or she based on what your genetic makeup appears to me to look like for 30, 40 years. You don't have to curse me out or be offended if you don't think I meant you harm. You know what I'm saying? If I'm saying that as a knee jerk because you look like a man and identify as a woman, and I say sir, and now you offended. Like, where's my grace in that moment? Because I'm not disrespecting you.
But those are all still the products of the helicopter mom. They are all still the same ones, and they never learned that. Look, I understand that there's a change, and I don't have a problem with it, but you got to give people a chance to get to where you are. You can't just come in and say, hey, I want you to change everything you've known. How long you say you've been alive? 50 some odd years?
Right. That's
something that you've been doing for 50 some odd years. I want you to change it now because my 22-year-old ass decided that it ain't the same no more. It's like, dude, you don't even.
It's not Terrence, it's Trina now.
Yeah.
Hey, Roger, I don't know how quickly you can pull it up, but if you can pull that picture that you just put in the thread, the text thread, if you can pull that picture up, I want you to pull it up because I want our loving fans to know the kind of slander that I have to deal with behind the scenes that people don't know.
Can I just announce?
I need to see this.
I need to announce before he does that. My pronouns are me, myself, and
I. I want the viewing world to know how y'all mistreat me behind closed. Y'all mistreat me in front of everybody. I want you to know how y'all mistreat me.
My pronoun is asshole.
You kind of walked into some of that.
You kind of asked for some of it, Sean.
Roger, tell me if you can. He said he can put pull it up in 2 minutes.
Look, while he doing that,
everybody watching, I want y'all to know this is how they treat me, but that y'all don't see. This was given to the thread as a picture of me in skinny jeans.
If anybody is abused, it's me. I try to pray with the fellas in the green room, and they tell me, "Get out of here, you holy roller." That's what they tell me.
That is far from the truth. And while we're waiting on this picture, I just want two people that I happen to know are watching that made my last birthday one of the most incredible birthdays I've ever experienced, I want to publicly, yet anonymously, say thank you to those two people who made my last birthday amazing. They know who they are, they know what they did, and I want to publicly say thank y'all. I appreciated that love. It was much needed. It was such a perfect gift, multiple gifts, and I appreciate and love both of y'all. That's my public statement. Now, do we have the picture, Roger? Because I just want people to know, I think they made me the host so they could ridicule me, Randy, and not be held accountable for it.
Oh,
That's I want y'all to know what I go through. This is a private thread, and they posted this picture as me in skinny jeans. I want y'all to know that's how me, your humble host, gets treated. I want y'all to know.
If you're a first-time viewer, we want to thank you for joining us.
Oh, that's
I'm your host. It's been wonderful.
I think I should resign. I really think I should resign.
Yeah, please come back.
Me, Phil Beckham, Robert, and Randy will be back next week. My two replacements, Operation Replace Mel and Sean, is now complete.
Yeah, I have to. Yeah,
take it over the show.
The little butt part is cracking me up.
I don't know if it's the butt part.
Hey, Randy, I don't mean no harm, but his ding-a-ling should be bigger. I'm just saying.
Oh my God!
Since we doing that, hey, look, Randy. Since we doing that, I'm just saying his ding-a-ling should be bigger.
I think.
Oh man. They say shots fired. That way the shots fired. That was a bomb drop.
Hey man, y'all meet me in the green room.
You gotta take us out of here.
Thanks for a great show. Y'all meet me back in the green room. Everybody watching, thank you so much for hanging with us. And until next Thursday, it's been live from the cave. We out.
Join us, Indie TV, where you will see the talk shows, movies, drama, action, and comedy. Be the first and see it first. Sign up now for free at Indie TV.